Hey, it's Lockstin. This is Josh.
I'm the behind-scenes guy, number one.
Yesterday, we saw Detective Pikachu, and we have things to say about it. Also, big thanks to Warner Brothers for getting us in to an early screening. That was cool.
It was way cool.
Never done that before.
Scary.
But it makes sense, because it's a Pokemon channel. It's what we do. We talk about Pokemon.
That is our
Which
main thing.
is the bias we should mention before getting into the no spoiler review. There's no spoilers in this one.
No
That's
spoilers.
for a later one. We're both Pokemon fans. I've played the Detective Pikachu game. Josh has not played the Detective Pikachu game. So those are the sort of biases that we have. So if you want that context, there's the context. So, the movie, overall, thoughts?
I liked it. I mean, you know, but who am I? I'm the behind-the-scenes guy, so, like, who cares about my opinion? What did you think about the Pokemon movie?
I enjoyed it. It's not a masterpiece, but it for sure breaks the stigma of video game movies all being the worst.
They have a long way to go, especially with the Sonic movie coming up. There's hurdles that they need to do, but this is a step in the right direction for video games.
There was nothing intrinsically wrong with it. I think I'm using that word correctly. There's nothing really stands out as a big problem, besides the only issue I had was it felt a bit rushed.
Yeah, and that always happens when you take a multi-hour game with, you know, story, lore, character, world building, and you squish it into what? It was only an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes.
Hour and 40 minutes, yeah.
It was really short. I was totally okay with watching it for longer, and that was a big plus in my book.
The ending by itself should have been an extra 10 minutes. Maybe you could add another half hour to the whole movie. It felt like they made like a 3-hour movie and then went, oh crap, we have to fit all of this into like the attention span of kids amount of time. So they're like, all right, we have to pull several scenes out of here.
Yeah.
We need to condense these scenes. No space. Like there were several scenes where there was no not talking.
Yes, it was super dense of a movie.
Because there's so much information that needs to be said and not enough time to say it. That's not a huge issue though. It was like, that's just the only real issue I had with it.
Yeah,
Pacing.
I
mean, I'm not really one for throwing out numbers for reviews. But like, if I had to give it a number, I'd say like a 7.5 out of 10, with a lot of fan service.
So it'll be
if
higher
you're part of the Pokemon fandom, you'd rate it a lot higher. If you're not, and you just like know what Pokemon are, but aren't really into them, then you know it's still a good movie. It's not bad.
Objectively, it's a average movie.
Yeah, it's what you expect from Hollywood.
It felt super Hollywood. It did feel very Hollywood.
Very manicured, manufactured, lots of really well done CG. I was actually more impressed with the Pokemon CG in the movie than I was with any of the trailers. They felt a lot more natural when they have all the build-up, and I liked the way they slowly introduced the Pokemon before like they're all right there in your face, you know?
They did the very few opening scene ones, and then like slowly built up, and it was like the earlier Pokemon all seemed more natural, like they were more animal based, and it slowly
got into the weird ones.
Yeah. That brings us to, there were not as many Pokemon as I thought there would be, because you know there's like 800 Pokemon. But there was more than I thought they had budget for. Like, the animations were really good too. Like,
thankfully the trailer didn't show every single Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm always worried about trailers just showing off all the best parts.
They definitely showed most of them though. More than half.
Yeah. From what I know, it was good. I mean, I only watched it once, so
it was a little condensed, I'd say. Again, it's like an asymptote. Where like there's not much happening for the plot, you know. There's a little bit, and then towards the end, it's thing after thing after thing after thing keeps happening and happening and happening and happening. And
I mean, I felt like it had a good pace. The beginning obviously was slow because it's the beginning of a movie, but like towards the end, it was very like, oh man, they better start cutting up or like tying up some of these loose ends.
Run out of time here.
Yeah,
like, there's several loose ends still. What's going on?
Yeah, I thought the ending was satisfying though.
Yeah.
So.
It delivered what it promised.
It did. No spoiler review, so like it was an ending that was acceptable.
Satisfying. You're not gonna leave the movie going, oh man, that sucked. You know, you're gonna finish it and be like, all right, that was good.
Yeah,
it's a good finisher.
That's been me in the last couple of movies I've gone and seen. I've always they leave me wanting more, but like just satisfied enough to have been like, I'm okay with paying that like absorbent amount of money.
To see a movie in
That's
the
not
theater.
the right word. Absorbent.
Absorbent.
Yeah.
Let's see, I have notes written down.
Ooh, you.
Because I'm terrible at remembering things on the spot.
Yeah. This is an on-the-spot interview with Austin here.
Wow.
What were your thoughts on the character development?
I liked it. Ryan Reynolds was actually an amazing choice for Pikachu, because the Pikachu, I mean, you can get that from the trailer even. It definitely has a Deadpool-esque kind of personality, where it's just constant quips, constant talking.
Yeah, I also like that they definitely did motion capture of him while he was acting, because he does the Ryan Reynolds eyebrow thing that he always does, and I'm like, that's just nice, and it's funny to see on a tiny adorable animal.
It was very good. The other two main actors were good choices also. I looked into Tim's
Justin Smith. Justin Smith. Ugh, bad with names.
As far as I can tell, it's because I didn't see Jurassic World, which he was in.
I just saw that. It was like
is he a main character, or is
he's
he just
like a
character?
tertiary character, secondary character, but like he still was like.
So this is his first starring role, as far as I'm aware, and he did really good. There were a few lines throughout the whole movie I felt could have been better delivered, and my first impression, what was the reporter girl's name?
I remember the game one, but I don't remember her. It's like Joyce or something. I don't remember.
The first impression of her is like, oh great, she's not the best actor, but it turns out that's the character she's playing. She's playing as a character that is trying to be a reporter, so she's putting on a reporter motif, so she's purposefully overacting. Yeah. Because that's what the character is doing. The character is overacting.
Yeah, I thought that was
it's like
cool.
an inception of acting. And she did a really good job of that. But because, if you're not aware of that, the first line comes off as extremely cheesy because it is. That's the point.
Then again, maybe she is just a cheesy personality.
Maybe that's why they hired her as the actor.
Yeah, that's fair. A fun fact. They say Pokemon wrong. I said Pokemon wrong because I'm American.
Oh yeah, Pokemon that's how I always say it.
Yeah, Pokemon. Just because that's what I grew up saying, but it's
Pokemon.
Pokemon. I think
they say it both ways in the movie.
They do
throughout the whole thing.
But that's just like a fun hoo-hoo,
It turns out it's because Justin Smith, right?
Yeah, the guy who played Tim watched the original anime right before his role because he was getting
which was dubbed a bit incorrectly.
But it was dubbed incorrectly, so he watched the American version.
It's one of those things, it doesn't really matter, but it's just a fun fact.
It is a fun fact. That brings us to all the Easter eggs. I'm not going to say any of them, but I wanted more Easter eggs.
Yeah, it felt very there were Easter eggs and trivia bits and things that any Pokemon fan can pick up on, and none of them were super deep or obscure. It's like, even if you only played Pokemon 1 and 2, the first and second generations,
you'd probably
you could pick up on them.
There's
nothing super deep besides maybe that sign has a Gumi on it.
Yeah, although maybe we just missed it, because I know I missed quite a bit. Because I was focusing on the action of the movie, the main thing. But there's so many things that go on in the background.
Several.
So many just big pan shots that I can't. I'm looking at a whole thing. I'm like, what's here? What's not here?
After the movie, we were talking about all the different things that we saw, and there's several things that he saw I didn't, and that I saw he didn't.
It's definitely gonna.
Apparently, there was a Victini sign or a Victini people dressed as Victinis.
Yeah, there was some people.
I didn't see that at all.
And then he saw. A couple of Pokemon that I just didn't even notice. I was like, "Why? I didn't see them in the movie." And he's
there's
"What?
There's a why not sign.
Is there? I didn't see that. I did not see that. There's
Oh,
probably more Easter eggs than what we saw, but the ones we saw were all kind of easily seen.
Mm-hmm.
They were there so you knew about them.
I know the perfect example of one to say, but it's a spoiler, so I'm not going to say it.
Spoilies. None of those.
Pokemon designs, the live action ones. This could be said of the trailers also, but even in the context of the Pokemon in the movie that aren't in the trailer, because you get to see them a lot more, they work so well. The Golurks are amazing.
Yeah, those
I never even considered the red parts of Golurk being hot.
Yeah, or
that might be something that they just took creative liberty with.
I feel like there might be something based because they're filled with energy or something.
They're just steaming out because it's a cold day.
Tons of interesting Pokemon interactions that you just didn't really think about, that's how that exists, because in the movie, their scale is much more realistic than in the games. The scale was much more not true or
I did see the Purloin seem really small.
some Pokemon seem small, and it felt like some of them seemed big. I think, I'm pretty sure this is also in the trailer, but there's a Joltik, and it's a lot bigger than.
Snorlax is actually 6 feet.
Is it?
6'11", yeah.
Well, it seemed way tiny then.
It
Never
was
mind.
way small.
It looked 4 foot. Weird.
Maybe it
That's
was a
so
baby
weird.
Snorlax.
Maybe, I don't know. But like that was a nice little. Some of their
Actually,
proportions
I think
were,
Snorlax is one of the Pokemon that I would say they didn't do that great of a job with the model with.
it was just a fuzzy
It seemed way
ball.
too fuzzy.
Yeah.
But most of them,
Kind of like Jigglypuff. It seemed way too fuzzy. And I know everybody like talked about that when the first picture of Jigglypuff.
I mean, the alternative is flesh, and it is not flesh.
We could be like balloon material, maybe. Let's hope that. But yes, the proportions of some Pokemon were a little weird. Like sometimes the head just seemed unnatural, but that's Pokemon. Pancham.
Pancham is the one.
was
Like,
the one
if
that I was
they
like,
just shrunk its head a little bit, it
a
would have been a
smidge.
lot better.
I feel like they.
Just because like it makes its eyeballs bigger than the human's head. So
Yeah.
it's a
They
little
should
weird.
have probably taken a little bit more
creative liberties.
liberties with changing their designs.
But most of them
Most of them
are very
translate.
good.
Most of them translate. Like in still images, I can understand why. Like, oh, that's a goofy looking lizard. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
But like when they
in
animate it,
motion, it's so much better than any screenshot.
and a lot of the
But
motions.
probably because of the motion blur,
that's true.
sort of like
There was
covering
one-
up the
the
weirdness.
the bends and twists of the weird models. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the action was
Oh, yeah.
fulfilling enough.
The choreography. The movie's not about battling.
No.
And I'm pretty sure the trailer got that across.
I
Though
think
the
it
trailer did show like the one battle scene.
It did. But like I
But
guess
the battle scenes and like there were more chase scenes than there were battle scenes. But they were well choreographed. I felt like the one battle scene was a little on the bland side. Like the Pokemon were sort of just taking turns. So like I mean I guess that's a reference to the game.
I guess.
But I wish it was a little more on the anime side in that case, because you know they're not taking turns attacking each other. They're actually like. Snubble's head was massive.
Snubble was disgusting.
The worst.
I think it might have been the worst one. That and like, this is just my opinion. You know, the guy in the background. Snubble's gross. Ludicolo also just like they got across wet so good. Like,
Ludicolo was very moist.
it looked way too moist, and that's a gross descriptor.
I really liked. In the games, Ludicolo was a very fleshed out character, and in the movie it wasn't.
Yeah.
There were a lot of things that the game got across really well that the movie like just touched on. I mean, the movie didn't even have to have Ludicolo in it,
Yeah.
but
They made
They
a
at
plushie
least-
of it even.
yeah, right.
Maybe-
Maybe a plush of it. It has one line. Guess what the line is? It's Ludicolo.
Well, all the Pokemon say their name,
Except for the ones that don't. Like
except for
Charizard.
most of the ones like they're.
The movie, I feel like
It
if
kinda-
they are doing a sequel or a cinematic universe, this was a good first movie to do because it sort of
Especially-
eases people that aren't super familiar with Pokemon into it. Because like Psyduck's the only main Pokemon that says its name frequently. All the other main or even secondary Pokemon either only say their names occasionally or they make generic animal sounds. Like Charizard has a really big scene. He just roars.
Yeah.
Gyarados just roars.
Yeah, Pikachu, I mean, Detective Pikachu just talks, you know, like that. But, like, the few scenes where...
It's Pika Pika.
It's
You know,
Pika Pika.
It's Pikachu. Everyone knows it's Pika
got-
Pika.
But he also makes noises, like grunts and stuff. Yeah,
That was my attempt at a Pikachu.
that was a bad Pikachu.
Even Psyduck, instead of, like,
Yeah.
the plush even, if you whack it,
It's not going to do it. It's not
not
going
going
to
to
do
do the
it.
right one. That.
Oh, Psyduck. Like,
He doesn't... All the Pokemon don't just say their names.
Yeah,
they're
they're not
able
locked
to
in.
make other sounds, too.
I think-
Bulbasaur squeaks.
and coos. Oh my gosh, it's like the cutest, stupid thing. Yeah! It's like a tiny dog.
Psyduck will say its name, but...
It also says,
Ah.
oh, Psyduck. Or like, ugh. Like, it's-
Psyduck.
uh,
Which I think is a good way of easing into it. It makes it a little less childish, a little less cartoony.
Yep.
Speaking of which, the movie is so self-aware of itself.
it is very self-aware of itself.
Like, it's making fun of its childish nature while also adding in, like, edgy humor. There were a lot of... Or I wouldn't say a lot, but there were plenty of... there was, like, a cocaine joke.
yeah, like
There were,
stuff that
there were
kids
quite
wouldn't like.
a number of sex jokes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say any of them for sake of spoilers, because I don't think the sex jokes are in the trailer. But
I don't think that.
Plenty of adult humor.
Yeah, there's adult humor, but like it's also funny to kids because it's along with like slapstick normally, which is great.
That's what with Ryan Reynolds saying so many quips so fast all the time, because that's Pikachu's personality. You can say an adult joke kids don't get. It's immediately followed by a joke kids get.
Yeah.
Or it's right after one.
Or right
so
after.
Everyone's laughing because it's just joke after joke after joke. It was very good. None of them really fell flat. They were all pretty good. Even the dry humor, there were kids. Even the ones where I'm not like cracking up, you're smiling the whole time.
You know? I actually like that this movie was like, it had a really good emotional depth. Like it had really good funny parts and like really good serious parts, and it also had really good like emotional parts.
There weren't a ton of those, but when they were there, they were very well done.
Yes, and the character development was really good.
If you've played the game, it doesn't spoil the movie at all.
I was gonna bring that up.
It's the same world, but the story goes a completely different direction.
A lot of people are like, I played the game, I'm just not gonna watch the movie, or like, oh, I played the game, now the movie's ruined. It's the same world, but it's definitely not the same game that he explained to me when he was playing it.
You get like halfway through the movie, and then it diverges from the game almost entirely.
And it was refreshing because like I think the movie story is much better suited to being a movie.
Right. The game story needed the amount of time the game is for all of the extra detail.
I think there's already a sequel in the works. I think they they cast a whole bunch of new other people, but like I don't think they're gonna do specifically the same characters.
I hope not.
I also hope not. Like I feel like it's done. It's good.
And that's the other thing. The whole premise of the city, just like in the game, it's Rhyme City. It's where Pokemon, like, basically, there's no fighting allowed, and Pokemon are out of their Pokeballs at all times.
I kind of was disappointed that, like, the biggest thing of the game, like Pokemon Pokeballs, just were not in the movie.
At the same time, though, that means there's a lot more Pokemon out and about to look at and be used as fan service. Because like if all the Pokemon are in the balls, then the city is just going to be people walking around.
Yeah.
And there's going to be signs with Pokemon and stuff.
Would have saved on their budget.
It would have saved their budget. But it makes me think if they do a sequel, they're probably going to do like Pokemon Ranger or something. Or something else completely original.
That's what I would do. Pokemon Ranger or something like that, where like the Pokemon are like partners. And then once you get there, then you can start like, after the second movie, you can start doing like more traditional stuff.
It might be also part of the branding of like trying to separate themselves from the whole like almost dog fighting aspect of it.
Yeah.
They want to show that it's a world first. This is a world of magical creatures that everyone is happy and harmonious in, and battling's just a sport.
Yeah, it's just a spectator sport, which it is like in the game they totally portray it as like it's a big event thing. They didn't really talk too much about the like battle aspect, but the small tidbits they did, they're just like, yeah, and like, some people are great at punching each other.
There's Pokemon battles and Pokemon League.
That exists, but not here.
Yeah, this is a rhyme city where things rhyme because everything's harmonious.
Is that why it's called Rhyme?
I don't know.
I thought they just got rid of the C in crime, so it's not criminal, it's rhyme. No crime here. I like that all the Pokemon were like working Pokemon, like during the big pan shots and all that. Like you could see Pokemon.
There's construction workers.
Yeah,
deliverers.
Deliveries.
The Squirtles are firemen.
It's so cute. A lot of the Pokemon are cute.
So cute.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as an uncute Pokemon, besides maybe Mewtwo. But that's sort of the point.
Yeah, some of the Pokemon, like the fleshier ones, I was a little creeped out at, because flesh on a moving creature that's not supposed to be fleshy in your like head is gross.
Like Ipom's hand
tail
thing.
Ipom's like hand looks like a gross sausage made of stuff.
But like what else is it going to be?
Yeah, like it was weird. Kind of looked like a Teletubby, but really short and evil.
So overall, I think we covered all the main points. It is a movie that any Pokemon fan will thoroughly enjoy, even if they sort of grew out of it. You'd still probably like it, similar to how like a lot of people grew out of comic books, but still like the Marvel movies.
I liked it more than any recent Pokemon movie I've seen.
Oh yeah, it is way better than any of the anime movies recently.
Because
though I haven't seen Power of Us yet, so.
Oh, okay. Well, it's me neither. But I feel like it doesn't have to abide by all the constraints that those ones do. So they had a lot more
I
liberty.
want more movies like it, even if
Animated.
the next Pokemon movie is animated again. As long as it's not about Ash, it's 100 times better.
Yeah.
Not that I hate Ash, it's just
Ash is kind of boring now because he's like,
He's
600 years old?
yeah, like he's the Bart Simpson of Pokemon because he kind of is. Like it's Ash Ketchum, the character that everyone knows everything about because he's been fleshed out as much as he's ever going to be fleshed out.
He's kind of locked into place, into what he is.
Which is why I think Detective Pikachu was an excellent move instead of doing a movie about Ash Ketchum.
It's a good idea for the new PCU, the Pokemon Cinematic Universe.
Which I hope they do.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome, and this is an excellent first film for that. Definitely worth seeing if you're a Pokemon fan, and if you're not, but you know someone who is, I mean, take them. And you would probably still at least enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because, like we said, it's not under any way at all, in our opinion, a bad movie. It's at minimum a 7 out of 10. It's generic Hollywood at its worst, which means it's a good movie.
Yeah, I can see that. Although there is some parts where you just kind of have to know a little bit about Pokemon, but it's the biggest media franchise in the world, so how do you not know about Pokemon, you know? Like, there's just a few things that you're like, they expect you to know those things.
Speaking of which, one last tidbit is it is Gen 1 heavy. Makes sense for the first Pokemon movie. But it's not as Gen 1 heavy as I was expecting it to be.
I was worried. Worried there. I thought it was going to be just pretty much only Gen 1, except for maybe, like, joke characters.
Yeah.
Like Ludicolo.
But I'd say maybe around 50-50 of Gen 1 and then the other 6 gens.
Really, there weren't that many Pokemon. I go back to I thought there was going to be more, but thinking back on it, it would have been really expensive because the animations and all the, like, models and
They
all
reused
They
models
did.
throughout the whole movie. It's in the trailer, the Joltix. There's easily like 10 scenes where Joltik is there.
Somewhere,
like,
just in the background. Never is in the front, unfortunately. It's super cute. Adorable.
It's one of his favorites.
We'll have to do a top 10 cutest Pokemon
in Detective Pikachu. Once the movie comes out on DVD, there's going to be so many videos on this channel just about so many things that are within it because it's going to be great.
Yeah, we have quite a bit of ideas. We have so many ideas. It's going to be good.
Bulbasaur's a frog.
It's not. He's wrong. The movie disproves it.
The movie proves it's amphibious.
Disproven.
All right.
Man. Okay.
Well, that is the spoiler-free review. Shortly after the movie comes out, we'll have the spoiler-filled discussion. We're just going to be talking about it and have your thoughts in the comments and stuff.
Yep.
So I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Or have enjoyed it if you've already seen it.
Yeah.
See you on the next one.